Oh, excuse me. Just hanging out, wondering if people are available, wanting to hear a stream today. To keep an eye on the chat to see if anybody checks in. Well, hello to the one person who came in. Hope you're doing well. We're doing this just after what would normally be Mass lazy stream. Lots of interesting things have come out in the news about whether or not you can even suspend the Masses so maybe we can talk a little bit about that, or we can talk about what people are doing for their Sunday obligation if they like. Again, I hope all people are doing well. So where did you view the Mass today? If you did, let me know in the chat where you viewed the Mass. If you went to a Mass that was still being offered publicly. If you watched one online. If you did which version of the prayer you did for the, what do they call it now that I'm on the spot? I can't think of it. The prayer, the spiritual communion prayer. Or if you didn't do that because you needed to be in state of grace and weren't able to do it. Let me know in the chat. We're just doing an informal stream today. I could do a video later if you want about the arguments about whether or not if bishops have the authority to cancel masses at all, because there's a lot of stuff coming out now where people are saying they don't. But I'm not a canon lawyer, so I'd be basically showing you the arguments from both sides, and I'd want to wait a few days to let those arguments sort of unfold so I can just present to you the arguments. But right now, so far the people in the negative are definitely saying no, they don't. Thomas Gierk, I hope I'm saying your last name right, Father. You offered Mass live streaming. Well, I'm glad. Patrick Rooney woke up too late. Check out livemass.org. For those who are too late, it's because they have a lot of Masses going on throughout the day. All their Masses are listed on their schedule in Central Standard Time, and they have them going, I think, all day. So if you think it's too late and you still want to, go check it out. Hello from Peru. Well, hello back to you from Peru. Scott in Austin watched one online. I'm glad you did. My wife and I watched a Mass out of Sarasota, Florida on livemass.org. It was very beautiful, as usual, as the traditional Mass only can be. Let's see here. Some of the headlines that I'm seeing are just so ridiculous that it's not even funny. I can't even say them. Patrick Rooney, Eastern Rite? That I don't know. Anybody have a link to an Eastern Rite liturgy? If you do, just spell it out in the chat or something. Put a www. And then a space, and then then maybe the web address with spaces and all that, and they could fix it. Hello to you, Dark Traveler, and hello to Mavelyn in the Philippines. And Sobieski, Our Lady of Calvary in the far northeastern Philadelphia. Went to confession in our church in front. You could choose face-to-face or facing away. The confessionals at the local diocesan parish 2 minutes from my house were open yesterday, which is, some people will not think is good, but I do think it was good. The lack of the sacrament of confession in some places is disturbing to me. Now, somebody asked me once why I haven't talked about the, act of perfect contrition, and it's partially because I always get hung up on the perfect part of perfect contrition. But in essence, you make a fervent prayer to God, asking forgiveness for your sins, and there's a formula for it online. And then with the intention of going to confession as soon as you can to seeking formal absolution. That's kind of the hook on it. And because a lot of people might think, well, I did this prayer directly to God thing, and I'm in the clear, which, kind of, sort of you are, but not really. Hello from Massachusetts. Parish is streaming the private Mass even daily. You can find it here on YouTube. We are St. Anne's, Clayton, North Carolina. EWTN, I'm guessing, EWTN has about as reverent of a Novus Ordo as you're going to find. You're welcome, Sandra, and thank you for the kind words. Fair amount of viewers watching on a Sunday. I'm pleased to see that. Just as a fair warning, there's a lot of people doing things online right now, so if I drop out, it's probably because my internet provider sucks, to put it bluntly, and we're overloading it. So I'm hoping here in the next month to upgrade my internet to a better provider so that I can stream more effectively and not drop out randomly. So I will let you know if I'm going to end a stream, but if I drop out and it ends abruptly, that's what happened. The fellow in Peru, Anonimo, says that the masses he's always gone to are Novus Ordo and they're done well. I'm glad to hear that. The Hypnagogue, hello Anthony, hello back to you. I'm happy to see the people are available. I'm wondering what's going to happen, and I say that because I dropped in at my side job today, not to work, but just to see how people were doing because it's only a few minutes from my house, and my boss, like I've told people, I deliver pizza on the side, and my boss is about to have like a corporate meeting where that sounds like they're going to have us do delivery only because they expect a national lockdown. So we'll see. We will see. LR says end free trade. I agree. Mostly. A lot of people who defend free trade, they cite Adam Smith, like his book Wealth of Nations, but I know they've never read it because if they did, they wouldn't be doing that. Because Adam Smith, actually, that book reads like a treatise on protectionism. Smith, in that book, talks about how, the state is right to protect vital interests and things that it cannot do, but it enables free trade for things that it can't do itself. Like, if your country doesn't produce wool, like if you're, let's say, you're in Hawaii, the Kingdom of Hawaii is an independent republic, we'll say, and it can't produce wool, well, it would make sense not to put a tariff on wool, but it might want to protect pineapples or whatever it makes. Do you feel that God holds us accountable for not having access to the sacrament of confession? Well, we are still held accountable for our sins, so yes, to a degree. I do believe in God's mercy, though, but still. David Robinson believes this is a chastisement. If you start seeing the kinds of things that are happening, the things that have been going on, I could see why people would say that. There is an interesting homily from Sensus Fidelium about this being an interdict. Now, the homilist is defending canceling of public masses, so I kind of am wishy-washy on that. But he starts listing just a few of the things that have been canceled in the culture because of what's going on, and it made me happy. I actually kind of want to do a video later in the week, let me know if you're interested, of as many of the things that I could find that are just wicked and evil in the culture that have been canceled. Because it'd be hilarious. Because there's a lot of this. It's starting to make me go, I don't want to love what's going on, but part of me, for instance, the so-called adult film industry in California is pretty much canceled right now. Granted, a lot of people watching that garbage online, but they're not producing any new material. And that's never a bad thing. Chicago shelter in place, but our friary doors just happened to not be locked. We were available for souls. Well, good for you, Father. I definitely agree. I'm definitely happy to hear that there are a lot of heroic priests out there. Don't ever discount what the heroic priests are doing. Some of them are taking great personal risks. You're also hearing stories, though, out of some places where priests aren't being permitted into hospitals, and that, if a priest ever lost his cool and punched somebody, normally that'd be horrifying. But when it comes to a dying person needing the sacraments on their deathbed, I could see it, and I would not hold it against the priest at all. Maria Garcia, howdy y'all from Texas, where the Mass was canceled and your parish church is open only during the weekday. Your family watched Mass in your living room. Hypnagogue watched the ICKSP Mass. What website were you watching that on? I've always wanted to watch one of their Masses. The nearest ICKSP Mass, Institute of Christ the King, Sovereign Priest, for those who aren't aware, is about an 8-hour drive from me. I've always wanted to see the polyphonic chant. David Robinson thinks 3 Days of Darkness might be coming soon. Go watch my Alois Erlmeyer video again, and then go start looking at the headlines related to the Middle Kingdom and some of its accusations. You'll see why I'm getting, not worried, but, I'm just slightly nervous. Unless you eat my body and drink my blood, you have no life in you. This is why I'm not a big fan of the canceling of masses. LR, thank you for the super chat. What are the first 3 books I should read during the lockdown? Depends what you're looking for. One, if you've been a little bad about reading sacred scripture, this is the time. So The first book should be the Bible, probably. The second, since this is Lent, I would suggest Frank Sheed's Life of Christ. It's one of those you can read a little bit of, and then you can go and read more, or a lot of in one sitting. If you want to read something a little bit lighter, that's also Catholic, I'd say the Chesterton's detective series on the priest, who's the Father Brown series. I think it's Father Brown. I should know this. My wife gave me a copy for it before we were married as a gift. It's sitting on my shelf. Because I'm looking over and I'm seeing the Father Elijah book, and I can't recommend it because I haven't read it yet. It's just on my list to read. And then, I don't know, maybe a book that'll help you polish up your skills on something. I don't want to say, like, learning how to garden right now might be a good idea, but there's skills. Certainly, it's a good idea to have skills. And maybe something along those lines, or... I could recommend a Hilaire Belloc book, like The Great Heresies or The Crusades is a third one also. Google account says, thanks for the newest We Were Warned. You're welcome. I'm going to try to do them twice a month, at least right now. Verum, I seen the interdict homily, loved it. I liked it too. Wasn't on the same page with all of it, but it's a great homily. Is this leading the 3 days of darkness according to Padre Pio? I don't know. We'll find out all together. I will probably be revisiting the 3 days of darkness soon. I will be doing another Marie Julie Jehani in early April, probably, because there's a lot she has had to say, and a lot of it is about protecting yourself, and I think people will want to hear that. David Robinson, 4 Last Things, Heaven, Hell, Death, and Judgment. Awesome book. Yes, I have a copy of that, and it's old enough that I may consider recording it and putting it up, because it's an old book. It's way outside of its copyright. That's why you see it being published by so many different groups. Someone is recommending 5 Minutes in Heaven. Andrew Garrett says, canceled Mass has made me realize how much in need you really are of our Lord more than ever. Yes, we are in a spiritual desert right now, which is why the idea that we're in an interdict actually makes sense, a divine interdict. For those who don't know what an interdict is, the idea was, like, historically, the priest in the homily says that Venice had been put under an interdict for some things it was doing or refused to do during the Crusades. No one had access to sacraments in that city. The idea was to force compliance. The argument is that maybe we're under a divine interdict right now because of the grotesque sins that are celebrated and just so widespread that people in the church participate in. Go look at the statistics. Nacho Raj. Great handle, by the way. I just got to say, Nacho Raj is a great name. Anthony, what should I do if I was baptized Catholic but was never confirmed? What should I do if there are no RCIA programs happening because of Corona? Thank you and God bless. Well, okay, so what I would say, work on that prayer life, learn about the faith, and get in touch with either your local diocesan parish or traditional parish, if you have one near you, and find out if ask the priest about how you can move forward with entering the church, even in spite of things. I would suggest sight unseen the traditional parish over the RCIA program. 1, because it's a little late for RCIA. 2, they can be really hit or miss. I was in a pretty good one, but a lot of people, because I am a convert, but a lot of people aren't always in a good one. And the traditional parishes will typically have you meet one-on-one with a priest, which might be able to happen right now, as long as you're not showing symptoms, and neither is he, and as long as he has the time. However, RCIA programs are on a fixed schedule, and in the traditionalist parishes, they will let you enter the church at any time of the year that they want, but they might also have you take 2 years. But you'll probably get a better experience out of it. Condi Eckerly, yeah, it is the 50th anniversary since the promulgation of the Novus Ordo. It's a little weird how that works out. Kind of weird that it occurs when the Mass is shut down worldwide. Yeah, no kidding. Patrick Rooney, which Eastern Rite do you belong to? I've only attended the Divine Liturgy with the Ukrainian Byzantine Rite, and a few times with the Maronites. Lord, someone says that liked the thumbnail. Went to my church online yesterday. Let's see. Well, hello, Laramie. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the super chat. Mass is globally clipped. Russia and China claim that the United States did this. Prepare pick up with the Lois Ormar. Am I right? Yeah, that was you and I had that conversation in an email. Laramie is Laramie Hirsch is a blogger that you should check out. Why don't you drop a link in the chat to your blog while you're at it? But yeah, go. Everybody should go watch my Lois Erlmeyer video again. Maybe I'll put it in the community section when we're done. It's spooky. I did that a year ago, and it talked about Russia and the Middle Kingdom working together, and what the war before the chastisement would look like, and it's absolutely disturbing. And it's why my next month I might do a follow-up on Lois Erlmeyer, where a lot of it will be repeated, but there'll be a lot of other information. Because I remember when I did that video, I didn't do as much as I would have liked. Brian O'Connor, we're going to be working on RCIA via virtual programs. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that more often. Like, honestly, like, a lot of people are going to find out that a lot of people are going to find out they can do their jobs from home. That a lot of what could be done in person doesn't have to be. Although I definitely advocate, if you're going to have an RCIA style program, it's ideal to have it, face to face, because you learn more about people face to face than you do necessarily over the internet. And there's a community aspect that is priceless. Camacho Art said, I just got confirmed by contacting my priest, and he was willing to confirm me. Your RCIA teacher said it was ready, so it was all good. Well, good. Congratulations. Glad you got confirmed. Hypnagogue. I'll look up the channel for IKCSP. Their chanting is indeed beautiful. I've always wanted to check that out. Polyphonic chant is extraordinary stuff when it's done right. Can't put in website if you're not a moderator. Okay, why don't you just send it to me in an email, and I'll check it out. Russia will be the chastisement of the world. It's why I don't think that is correct. They will be the instrument of at least part of the chastisement. I don't discount any of the sort of, the extra planetary theories that people have, except for aliens. That's silly. But I do think they will be the instrument of the chastisement. CC says there's a priest in Ireland planning on doing a drive-through communion, and people will have to have plates with them. Oof. I don't mind the communion. I mean, I'm pretty flexible when it comes to communion, when it comes to a lot of things, but that sounds very, very bad. Let's see. F here, chair. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Patrick Rooney, Middle Kingdom must be everything. Must everything be a euphemism? If you saw what happened when I tried to do my video on Saint named after the beer bug, when I tried to upload that, it didn't go so well. My whole channel got shattered practically, and I had to delete it. It was the spookiest, weird stuff I've ever seen. I put it up in audio format on the podcasting website, and if you go to the returntotradition.org, I believe there's a link there to it. You'll find there's a lot of people now disputing whether or not she is actually the patron saint of the thing going on, but still go have a listen. It's like 4 minutes long. John in Pennsylvania says there's a local parish in his area, doing the Blessed Sacrament 3 days a week, exposing it. If you have access to adoration right now, I cannot think of a better time. Father Richard Heilman had a mass today. Interesting. John in PA, I'm right now waiting for YouTube to approve the Cardinal Burke letter. Expect that either way on Tuesday. I have a different thing tomorrow. Is this a technocratic ploy for world domination? What was the name of Dean Koontz's 1981 novel? Because I've heard about this thing, and I'd love to go find a copy of that book. Long before I was a Catholic, I read Dean Koontz stuff and Stephen King and all this other stuff. Dean Koontz was like a poor man's, more pornographic version of Stephen King, which is why I don't know if I'd touch him now. But if someone gave me the clear that book wasn't full of that nonsense, I'd probably go pick it up just to see. But yeah, if you can give me the name of the book, that'd be great. Martin Islava, Middle Kingdom is literally it is. I can't pronounce your name, but it's in. I'm assuming you are Russian or from one of the countries that uses. I can't remember the name of their script. He says, "Hey guys, my dad's a Protestant. He's prohibited me from attending the liturgy due to the C word we mustn't say on YouTube. What should I do? As I'm still a catechumen. Attend the Mass online, find your contact your parish and ask your priest, or if it's a diocesan parish, ask for the well, if you're saying liturgy, I'm guessing it's Eastern Rite. Contact your parish and see if one of the deacons or the parish priest will can give you formal instructions. But at the very least, continue studying the faith from traditional sources and study I suspect joining in one of the Eastern rites of the church, get to know your rites. Okay, continue that because one of the things that always bothered me is that people in our CIA programs will often show up that one day a week and then show up for mass and then not do anything else with it. And really, you should be studying the faith almost every day when you're converting. Robert DePaula, protect your local church, and yes. Vic's text, the FSSP parish that you attend had a streaming mass this morning. You're blessed. Pascal Leclerc, thank you for the $5 super chat. Finishing up Pascendi. Amazing how accurate St. Pius X was. Stay safe out there. Yes, stay safe out there. And if you haven't read Pascendi, I have both the full text on my channel. It is a very dense text. It's hard to understand for a lot of people, which is why I did a live stream a week or so later with Classical Theist, where we went over some of the core concepts and explained them in a way that a normal, everyday Catholic can understand. So, and we did it without dumbing it down, because I do not believe in dumbing down anything. The Eyes of Darkness is what it's called? Okay. I remember reading his book Twilight Eyes, and it's one of his best badly written books I've ever read, but it's also so pornographic that I wouldn't read it again. I always hate when secular authors ruin a really good story with unnecessary sexuality. It's so annoying. Father Heilman offers a daily mass also. I may watch that in the coming days, because I wanted to get into start going to daily mass again, at least on days where I wasn't expected to be at my side job during the day, and now I can't. In fact, the local monastery has not the exposed sacrament, but a tabernacle with a chair within like 5 feet of it, so you could sit there and just in the presence. I'm pretty sure their doors are locked, but I should actually check that tomorrow. I've been studying the faith every day for 30 plus years. Don't stop just after you become confirmed. Correct. Every day I'll do a little bit. Leonim, thank you for the super chat. It is appreciated. God bless you and all yours, Anthony. Thank you for the hard work. Keep the chest warm and, so far as possible, safe from the mucky little germ-friendly fingers. The joys of fatherhood. Yeah, when my wife said confession yesterday, my kid was crawling around the floor, and I was like, I shouldn't let him do that. So I wiped his hands off with the hand sanitizer. But I never got sick so often as I did until after I had a child. And then, then there should be more on the way, because my wife and I try to be good Catholics. Let's see. You thought it was Basil, which Cyril, which gave them the Russian script. His name is Wesson, not a very Ukrainian name. Maybe he's still becoming a Ukrainian, right? Comanche Arts, why can't we say the C word? Just curious. I don't know. You see, they did our wonderful hosts on this platform gave us put a blog post up on the creator blog saying that because it was such an important issue, they were going to let people do it. And then a few days later, they went automated. Like most of the manual confirming people, for the way it works, you put a video up. Like I put a video up at least a day ahead of time, sometimes more earlier than that, because my videos always get demonetized. Always. But you can do a manual review. And I always do a manual review, and 9 times out of 10, it's fine. A day or so later, they confirm it, and it's fine. But now it takes 3 to 4 days, because most of their people aren't home anymore, or at home, not at work. And so they're relying on an algorithm. My Forgotten Saints videos that I had done before they went that way, no problems whatsoever. Now, I don't know. So I think what happened is the algorithm is still extremely hostile to that word. It could also be because there's a lot of people out there promoting home remedies as like the way to protect yourself, and it's very strange, very strange. The alternative medicine people, a lot of that stuff does work for a lot of things. I think they want to clamp down on. So Patrick Rooney does not like Classical Theist. Well, I've been meaning to watch his latest video. He doesn't upload often enough for me, because he has a good way of talking about Thomism without losing his audience. Promoter Fide. A poem called Das Lied der Lind was apparently written by Venerable Holzhauser and contained messages about the 3 days and the sixth age. It's an old poem in German. Would be worth covering. I've done his video, but I'm going to copy that and see if I can find it, and then maybe do get a halfway decent do a halfway decent get a halfway decent translation of it. Dr. Jonathan Gemmel says your SSPX parish had a great day at Mass yesterday. I'm very curious if people are seeing with the Society of St. Pius X that they're seeing that their Masses are exploding right now because literally everyone else other than the Sedevacantists have shut down. So the SSPX, a lot of people who are wary about them are probably not nearly as wary as they used to be. Anyone know the rift between Russian Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism from a theological standpoint? I don't, but a lot of my colleagues in social media do. I mostly know these guys by their Twitter handles because a lot of people are afraid of being doxxed. Let's see. It's a Philiquated distinction, Patrick Rooney, by the way. When you, I had to approve that message because of what you call the Eastern Orthodox. So, well, thank you for the kind words, David, Mr. Robinson. Okay, Maria White says your SSPX Mass was canceled today. Yeah, I've been, for the SSPX, they're responding in different ways. Okay, the Hypnagogue says if you want to watch the ICKSP, the Institute of Christ the King Sovereign Priest channel, just type in ICKSP and their channel will come up. You can go to the sort function and set it to channel. Interesting. Let's see. Maria Wade, your parish priest told everybody about the 1920s persecution in Mexico. You know what I'd love to do is I'd love to get a guest on to discuss that persecution in particular. I have an idea of someone to bring on, if I can get them, because they're a lot bigger than anybody I've ever had on, about the Vendée. I'd love to discuss the Vendée and the Mexican persecution, because a lot of people don't know that. Important to use your sacramentals. David, that's a hint right there. That your comment is a hint about what I'm going to do with my next Marie Julie Johani video. Lord's Legato indirect. Rosary. I'm not going to butcher French right now. Watch the Rosary Novena all day, all languages. TV Lords. Okay. Purple Scapular. I want to know more about the Purple Scapular. I'm going to do some research for you guys on that. People want the public mass restored. I think it is legitimate for the priests, for the bishops to give widespread waivers for people to not attend the mass. But it looks like there are a lot of canon lawyers piping up now saying that this might not have been canonically legal, for what that's worth. Let's see. It was given to Marie Julie for these powerful protection. Yes, and the problem is I don't know if you can find a place that will send you a purple scapular right now. At least not on Amazon. I mean, there are people on Amazon who sell them, but Amazon won't ship anything right now that isn't what I would call a material essential. What they just call essentials, diapers and medical supplies and that kind of thing. But I call them material essentials because there's more to our life than the material. Patrick Rooney, purple scapular. There are just too many scapulars to keep track of now. There's the purple, the brown, the green, and I'm sure there are others. Those are the three that I know of. Basically, oh yeah, your mother said this is about the Mexican persecution, that people would light a candle and place it in the window as a sign for priests to say mass at their homes. Okay, so yes, there's if anybody's interested in these questions about how canonical it is to abrogate the mass, I just put a link in the chat for those who want to read it later. Scapular of St. Joseph, have one yourself, so that's number 4. Leo XIII instituted it. Leo the 13th, I could run my channel as an entirely Leo the 13th channel in terms of my Saturday uploads. He wrote like 87 encyclicals. And that's not counting his letters. So, I mean, I could do my channel for a solid 2 years and not run out of material. Can we do these things to disciple? Do you mean like as an to evangelize? Yeah, I mean, when you're at home quarantine, that becomes harder. Start with your family if there's issues there, and then move on from there, maybe with your neighbors. Let's see. Of course, Etsy is a good place. The brown scapular I wear, that my wife and I wear, we got from Etsy. They are still shipping, so I'll probably take a look at that. Mark Nelson, bishops should not be letting secular heads of state dictate to the faithful. We are not afraid to attend Holy Mass. Right, that's where I stand. But, I will also submit to their ruling, even though I disagree. At the end of the day, I'm just some dorky layman with a microphone, right? But I'll submit, but I'll grumble about it the whole way. And when others who are higher profile in terms of bishops are saying other things, will happily bring you those messages themselves. Also, if you see any like really bizarre reactions to things, to the situation right now in terms of how the church shutting things down, send them to me, please. Like Pastor Jimmy Martin is counter-signaling Cardinal Burke right now, and it's delightful to see. Not in a way that I like what he's doing, but it's like giving me free material to work with. Better get a scapular of St. Joseph and a St. Joseph cincture. There's a white, blue, red, and black scapular. They're part of the 5 scapulars. White, blue, red, black. That's 4. Brown is 5. Green is 6. Purple is 7. Wait, you seriously? There have been channels blaming Catholics due to the... Seriously? Most of the websites you see about her say that she's the patron saint of, I want to say gambling or something. I mean, she is also listed as the patron saint of scourges, but that's about it. Sacramentals are very important these times. They're always very important. Always. The Chaplet of 5 Wounds. I do suggest if you want a way to strengthen your Lenten journey, shall we say, do if you haven't started maybe the devotion of the Holy Face. It's not a hard one. It's just a few extra prayers in the morning. I would definitely add it. Linus Bliss says that they have a purple scapular. It's about 5 inches by 3. It goes on the wall to protect your home, especially in the 3 days darkness. So yes, you don't need to be wearing, what looks, a large amount of scapulars. That one goes in the home. From what I understand, the green scapular is the kind that after it's blessed, you can secretly put in a place to try to get for people who are not, of the faith to get a little prodding along to convert. Let's see. The 24 Hours of the Passion of Christ, dictated by Jesus to Louisa. Daughters of Mary press website. Well, I may take a look. The Court of St. Philomena is power if you want to help with chastity and purity. St. Philomena, 6 curious backside. Yes. St. Phil. It's funny. A lot of people don't like St. Philomena because some of the worst public figure Catholics like St. Philomena. St. Philomena is a saint for our times. Her story is an incredible one. And given how widespread impurity is right now, it's absolutely essential that people have a devotion to her. Miraculous Medal, very basic, good one. The church has approved 18 scapulars. Patrick, if you want to email me like a list of all the 18 scapulars, I would love to see it. I would love to know all of the scapulars and give information for people. Can I elaborate on what Father Martin has said? I plan to do a video about it later in the week, but I can give you a brief, just what he said. Quoting him, God doesn't send chastisements as punishment for sin. There you go. That's what he said. The guy needs to read his Old Testament. He needs to read the New Testament. Let's see. Yeah, glad I was right about the green scapular. I hate getting on the microphone and being wrong about things. It's one reason I put a video. I let the videos marinate for a day. What did Father Martin do again? Well, he denied. He said God doesn't send chastisement for sin. That's ridiculous. But just say a rosary, all these scapulars. I mean, before you're putting on a scapular, if you're not praying the rosary every day, you should have that habit, I would think. Renaissance man advocates the divine office. I would agree. Might as well make a scapular quilt. Hey, you know what? I would love to see a Catholic rapper whose lyrics were wholesome, whose sort of image was all about the scapulars. That would be great. Green scapular for conversion and physical healing, and is the only scapular that may be used without someone knowing it, i.e., hidden. It works. Love all the devotions, say them spread throughout the day. Let's see. Hello back to you, Renaissance man. Jimmy needs to go to catechesis. Yeah, well, he's an ordained priest, but that doesn't really say much. Read St. John Marie Vianney. Are you saying John Marie V, meaning Vianney, I think, on Philomena? Do I ever cover divine will? I don't really do a lot of theology. What Bible is Martin reading? Maybe the Message or some other non-Catholic Bible. The Divine Mercy Chaplet. People like the Divine Mercy Chaplet. I haven't prayed it in a while myself. Not because I don't, want to. It's just, at this point, I'd rather add a second rosary to my day. Let's take a look here. Apparently, the Knights of Columbus have started an investment fund that will help fund anti- or un-Catholic things through the USCCB. That's not really all that surprising. Let's see, it's something called the Catholic All-Cap U.S. Index Fund. It's believed to be the first mutual fund comprised of common stocks with a low-cost expense ratio. They will adhere to the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops' socially responsible investment guidelines. I'm going to go, maybe I should do a video on what their socially responsible investment guidelines are, because I have a bad feeling. We'll open that up for later. The USCCB, they give me a headache. The traditional divine office is very long. Yes, they are. They took a much more a part of a priest's day and a layman's day than they do now. Hey, what's wrong with the Message Bible, Thomas? Just because it's one, not Catholic, and two, has makes references to like cars and rubber tires and all sorts of other modern things. It doesn't mean it's bad. If you're depressed right now, please pray the Seven Sorrows Rosary. I think the Seven Sorrows devotion is definitely a devotion for what we're all going through right now. Did Jesus describe the Great Chastisement to different visionaries? Yes, and that's why I do my We Were Warned videos. Thomas Kelly Message is a Proc Cliff Notes Bible. Yes, it is. The Angelus. The Angelus is probably one of the easiest devotions a Catholic can add to their day. It takes, said prayerfully, about 5 minutes at noon. And you probably don't have to do it precisely at noon. I don't think it's going to count against you if you do it at 12:15 or 12:30. Let's see. Knights of Columbus are Freemasonry. I don't know if they're Freemasons. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been infiltrated, though. Chastisements are punishment for sin. They are also an invitation to conversion. Yes, and I think there's a lot with what's going on right now around the timing that makes me believe that the chastisement thing. Let's see. It's time for the Angelus now in the East. Thanks for the reminder. Well, you're welcome. And you mean on the West? West Coast, it's 12:09. It's 3 o'clock on the West. If you were to do, it is the Hour of Divine Mercy right now on the East Coast. The Rule of St. Benedict. Renaissance man is reading the Rule of St. Benedict, and there were 12 Psalms in his Matins, and there are 3 in the current one. Granted, your 3-volume set is from 1974. I got from before she quote unquote died. I got from Susan from the parish council an entire list of all the things that were changed after Vatican II, and I think the Liturgy of the Hours is one of the ones that was changed. I wonder if that was done in after 74. I'd have to take a look. Let's see. Purple scapular, one thing. This scapular, crush the ungrateful who will blaspheme my name in the house where it will be exposed. Yes, and I really need to get a purple scapular for the home. Lorena, if you've never done the Angelus, I guarantee you've probably heard it. Any thoughts on attending SSPX, Eastern Catholics, or even a set of a contest during the Latin shutdowns? I don't have any issues with the SSPX. Some people in the audience disagree with me on that. I'm not going to argue it with people. I just don't have an issue with them. If you could find an Eastern... now, is that a question directed towards Eastern Catholics, or are you talking about attending the Eastern liturgy? Because a lot of the Eastern bishops have shut theirs down as well. I wouldn't go with set of a contests because... It's hard. Like I can't defend sedevacantism. It doesn't make any sense to me. And by any sense, I understand what they're saying. I just don't understand how they get to that conclusion. Their conclusion. Oh, let's see. Short prayers of St. Francis for Station of the Cross. Verum's is one of the worst Bibles they know is the Schofield Bible, filled with notes promoting end times heresies. Well, the Schofield Bible is a special Bible. That is a very troubling Bible that has led to a lot of some of the worst things we see in Protestantism today. I will direct you to E. Michael Jones for what he has said about the Schofield Bible. He's a historian. He knows what he's talking about on that. Yeah, Thomas Skeller. I do feel like Susan from the Parish Council was ended a little too prematurely. It would have been perfect to have her maybe go out during what's going on now, but it might have been in bad taste also. So maybe they didn't. Maybe it's good just the way it was done. Mark Nelson, we will always remember this Lent. Yeah, people talk about the long Lent of, what was it, 2003, when the Boston, I think, Herald or whichever newspaper it was, released its expose that led to, well, all the really horrible stereotypes about priests. This is going to be at least as bad, if not worse. Liquid Force 360. You're attending the Eastern Liturgy? Well, good. I don't follow any living alleged visionary. They need to have, unless they have had explicit approval from the bishop. I don't do that. I don't do anything that has been condemned by bishops. Like, I don't do Bayside. I don't even do Garam Bendal just because of what the bishops have said. I just, I don't do Maria Divine Mercy, and I definitely don't do the Book of Truth online. So those have all been said no to. So I don't know anything about Holy Love Ministries. If they have been approved by the bishop, maybe. And Kathleen D'Alessandro Cohen heading out for the chapel now. Good. Renaissance man. Now would be a great time to learn Latin, to read the Vulgate, actually. There's a great book called Lingua Latina per se illustrata that teaches Latin effectively. Does it help with pronunciation? Asking for a friend. How am my family holding up right now? Scale of 1 to 10? 7 to 8. I would much rather have gone to Mass today than watched it online. My wife's a stay-at-home mom, so she jokes that this isn't that different for her anyway. We'll be good. I'm more worried now because of my side job doing food delivery that I'm, like I had a delivery 2 doors down from a regular customer of ours who was an old lady retiree. And I was very thankful I didn't get her. And I said as much in the kitchen when I got back. And then the very next order that came in was for her. And I was the one who had to take it. I was not happy. Let's see. Megan says she's a sedevacanist, and they go to Mass with a sedevacanist, and a lot of them are shut down. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Did Susan actually die? Susan was not a real person, right? It was a satire account. And I think for the person running it, that the joke either got old or they started feeling guilty about what they were doing or something, so they ended it. I know somebody who knows the person who's behind it, and I should ask that person what the thinking was, but they may not be willing to talk, so... The spotlight was from the Boston Globe. Thank you, Thomas. And I agree, Akita is legit. I don't know about the Akita follow-up. I wouldn't be surprised if it was legit. I know that the message is legitimate. Let's see. Average Joe says there really is a Susan on your parish council. I'm sorry. I hope that they have a better personality than that character did. My favorite daily missile. I mean, I have to actually go. My 1962 missile's in the car. I'm not sure which one I have. But I use a 1962 missile, and it has the daily readings in it. That's what I would go with. Did I hear about the messenger from the Philippines? Was he approved by the bishop? If not, I'm not going to pay that much attention. Renaissance man. It's classical Latin, so no help with the pronunciation. Let's see. Would love to hear my opinion on Catholics having Orthodox priests hear the confession if no Catholic priest gets to them in an emergency. It's fine. The Vatican has said it's fine under that circumstance. I'll defer to their authority. Thomas Keller, Domino's had to be busy. I don't work for Domino's, but I would imagine that they are. Let's see. Patrick Rooney, confession time. I too am a seed. Fed confirmed. No, I don't think you're being a set of a contest doesn't make you a Fed. If you were like doing what we call Fed posting in the chat, then yeah, you'd probably be a Fed. I would call you a Fed. If you don't know what Fed posting is, carefully go into Urban Dictionary and look up what Fed posting is. Don't we need blessed candles for the 3 days darkness? Blessed candles, yes. Beeswax is whether or not they need to be beeswax is subject to debate. I err on the side of beeswax just because they're not that much more expensive. Today's the 40th anniversary of the Georgia Guidestones. Really? So 50th anniversary of the promulgation of the Novus Ordo and the 40th anniversary of the Georgia Guidestones. I'm going to have to look that up. That would be an interesting video to do. Renaissance man, surprisingly, Pope Michael is one of the saner people on your Facebook feed, although I have lots of atheist friends. Yeah, Pope Michael is an interesting character, and from what I hear, he has some sort of issues himself. So, Melinda has to go pray. Keep us in your prayers, please. The Angelus Press 1962 is great. See, the reason I'm not sure which one I have is I have a one edition and my wife has a different one. So I can never remember. One of ours is, I know that one of the ones we have is the Maryknoll from like 1962, back when Maryknoll was good and not terrifying. Checked out the Order of the Mother of God. I've never heard of that. Kathleen Kent, Our Lady of Sorrows, Phoenix, SSPX. Did they have Mass today? Opinion on Father Mike Schmitz. What I've seen I've liked, but you know, he reminds me of the types of priests I've seen at Newman Centers. What is a Fed? A federal agent. That's what a Fed is. What is the 30th and 20th anniversary of? No idea. Hopefully nothing bad. Patrick, I had to also approve that one. So there you go. Fed. There's an example of Fed posting. You're welcome, Katie, for the live stream. Is the 3 days of darkness literal? As I understand it, yes. Wheelock's Latin is a book for beginners and helps with pronouncing the words. Huh. I'll have to remember that. I'd actually like to pronounce things correctly. I just, just don't. I'm hoping that the people who attended Mass today did so after careful discernment. Otherwise, that's fine. I would rather people go to Mass. Renaissance man endorses the Wheelock Latin book. So maybe I'm going to go onto the Amazon page for it and add it to my buy later after the crisis is over, because you can't get these kind of things right now. I don't know if you're aware, but Amazon is only letting you order diapers and essential items and things. So at the moment, I want ecclesiastical pronunciation. Remember that God said things would speed up for the sake of the faithful, so things that would take hundreds of years might take months or days. Yeah, that's a uplifting reminder in terms of biblical prophecy anyway. Well, Karen Carpenter says Akita and Fatima are alike in prophecy. Well, here's the thing. Cardinal Ratzinger, before he was the Pope, said that Akita is essentially the third secret of Fatima. For what that's worth. Linda Riddle says, replies to Maria Wade, the candles need to be at least 51% beeswax. I have 100%. You really need the Epiphany blessing also. Now you have to wait until next year. Yes, go to a candle mass. And a lot of times, like Nova Sordo parishes don't do candle mass anymore. I don't know why. So you'll need to go to a traditional Latin mass to get it blessed by a traditionalist priest. Tell my conversion story? Someday I will. It's weird. I mean, I'm an adult convert, so. My thoughts on QAnon. I stopped paying attention to QAnon when all the QAnon YouTubers started talking about promoting virulent, disgusting Protestant anti-Catholic propaganda. That's when I stopped paying attention. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some guy with high-level security clearance who really was into the current president and was leaking stuff. It's just some of the conclusions he draws I don't agree with, which is making America great again, bringing us back to the 50s, basically. So... Fire falling in the sky, hypersonic weapon like are being tested by every superpower, by the way. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my theory. I've shared this video before when people ask me. Somebody took Malachi Martin's, everything he said publicly about the Third Secret of Fatima, and then went really deep with what Sister Lucia said about the Third Secret of Fatima and what was known about it, and they line up almost perfectly. And he made almost 2-hour video on it, and it's fantastic, and I always recommend it to people. It's... worth watching. I may have put it in the link. Go check my Fatima videos and look in the pinned comments to see if because I put it in there at least in one of them. You may want to plant a garden. The economy is really not looking good. Well, here's the thing. I am going to be going to the store tomorrow morning, a store nearby that had a bunch of potato starters already started, and I'm going to go buy a bunch of them. And after that, I don't know what else I'm going to do, but I've got a big backyard, and I don't need that much green space when my kid is still a toddler. Fatima Third Secret is questionable as we see the times we're in. The Third Secret that they released is questionable. There's a lot of reasons to think that wasn't even real. Go look up the prophecy of St. Pius X. There's reason to believe that they just sort of stole it from that. Patrick Rooney had to clear that one too. He doesn't like the QAnon thing. He says it's cringe. The only plan to trust is Christ. That's true. It is true. The only one you should trust is our Lord. If you have Amazon Prime, you can still order things normally. Yeah, what they're not doing is reordering things for their warehouse. If they have it in stock and you order something that's essential, they'll fill the order. So, like, if you need Band-Aids, like right now, I mean, who knows where things are going to go? Like, there's rumor that the president's going to go on TV and order some massive lockdown soon. Today was a date that I heard, but I don't think it'll happen today, unless it's happened already. Mark Nelson, Candlemas fell on Feast of the Presentation this year. Yes, and we had that was when I got my candles blessed because I forgot last year. You need diapers, but you wanted a new DVD player. I actually ordered diapers about a week ago with Prime, and they still haven't gotten here yet. To give you an idea of the condition Amazon is in right now. But I have them coming in the mail. Amazon is still shipping random stuff, but aren't shipping anything that they warehouse for third-party sellers. So yeah, Amazon is going to be hit or miss right now. Yeah. Anybody have any other questions right now? The reason I'm not talking about my conversion is I'd actually want to outline it because it's a really convoluted story. It's not out of like shame of my conversion story or anything. It's just very convoluted, and I would need to really outline it to get my thoughts in order. Cold weather veggies: kale, lettuce, carrots, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, snow peas. Yeah, at least in my part of the country, though, we're getting close to planting season for early summer crops. Ohio just got the order to shelter in place effective tomorrow at 11:59. So it's going to affect Monday night at 11:59 p.m. or like tonight in like 8 hours, 10 hours. Hypnagogue remembers that Notre Dame burned last Lent. It was apocalyptic watching the cross burning from the sky. It was no accident, that's for sure. But the cross on top of the spire falling, yeah. I want to go find out what the date was on that because I was one of the few people who publicly rejected the narrative on it. America's lost a quarter of its GDP this quarter, apparently. Yeah, that isn't surprising. We're paying the price right now. America is paying the price for its free trade policy right now and for cozying up with an absolutely reprehensible dictatorship. We need the monks from the Holy Grail chanting and beating themselves for Lent to change my mind. Won't change your mind on that. So Average Joe, I have a question. I'm a new convert, so I've never heard of the time of darkness and eating a candle for Candlemas. That's because no one officially talks about it. Go onto my channel, do a 3 days of darkness search. People question whether or not Padre Pio actually ever said that. Go watch it anyway because it lines up with what literally a lot of other mystics have said. So I'll stand by the information in there even if there are questions about its source. But go type into my channel, search after we're done, 3 days of darkness. I'm going to do more videos on it in the future. But the Cliff Notes version is you're going to want to be huddled up in your house. The only source of light that'll work is a blessed candle. And you better be in a state of grace when it happens. And do not open the door, even if you hear loved ones outside begging you to open the door, because it's probably not loved ones, because you'll want to have the windows shuttered up, because that is the wrath of God. And not see it, because if you see it, you'll be in the ant farm. Let's see. Keto operation. Our Lady of Good Success's actual name is Our Lady of Buen Suceso de la Purificación. Our Lady of the Good Event of the Purification would be a much more accurate English translation. I don't know why people call her Our Lady of Good Success. When you read what she has had to say, what she said at Keto, it was all about corruption of the priesthood, rampant immorality. I mean, it's a fantastic apparition. If you want a lot of information on it, there's a channel, Vox Catholica, has a great series of talks on it from a SSPX priest on Our Lady of Buen Suceso. Australia is locking down today. Businesses except for food and essentials will be locked down. Oh, goody. Yeah, my gym closed down. I was sad, but I understand why they closed down, why they were ordered to. Chickens for eggs. Well, I don't have access to chickens for eggs, so eggs have a long shelf life in the refrigerator, more than most people think. Thomas Keller says nationwide lockdown is coming tomorrow. We'll see. Well, you would go look up an act of perfect contrition, say the prayers as firmly as you can, and look to see what other options you have for confession, whether it's making an appointment with the priest. If they refuse, any ordained priest can do so in an emergency, in a life or death situation. And if this isn't life or death, I don't know what is. So, like a lot of people say, don't go to the SSPX. Well, one, they're not in schism. I trust Bishop Schneider over any layman on that one. But go if your normal priest can't do it for you, go contact. If you have a society parish near you, go for it. Apparently, we're having problems with the stream now, so just a heads up. What do I think the thing going on now is punishment for spiritually? Everything. 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 CF Hewling, member of the channel, says I got a copy of the Father Lassant's Missal through Amazon Prime on Thursday. Very good. All Five Eyes countries will be locked down this week. All Five Eyes. I can't remember what that's a reference to, probably other than the New World Order. Karen Carpenter, everything you said there, possibly, plus fornication, impurity in general. Can you make a confession to anyone if it's an emergency? No, you need laymen do not have the ability to absolve sins, last I checked. I would, yes, Psalm 51 is good to be said from the heart of fear and sin, but I would go and look up. There is an actual there are various prayers that have been written that for acts of perfect contrition, but you want to make sure you're fervently saying the prayer. You went for eggs yesterday and there were none. I always tell people to check the stores you wouldn't expect to have things, like the little stores, like in my area, the grocery stores, the cash saver types, the kinds that sell everything at cost plus 10%. They tend to have things because a lot of people forget that they exist. Bishop Schneider does support the SSPX. That's why I trust him on it. But the real reason I trust him on it is he worked for the Vatican for years, observing them and being their official point person, and he came out saying they weren't in schism. That the issue is one about a difference of opinion on authority and on the state of things. church is closed. Moloch temple's open. Yep, it's a chastisement, says Mark Nelson, although I changed what he said because I'd like to keep my channel. Yes. Matthew Daniels, punishment for sins crying out to heaven for vengeance. I did a video on the punishments for the sins that cry out to heaven for vengeance. Depriving people. A lot of people forget about depriving workers of their wages. I mean, that happens all the time. Brad's mom says hi, hello back. I don't know, maybe, Stephen, if you said that if there's a Bible verse that says the candle will no longer be found in me. I don't know. You'll have to look. Canada, U.S., England, Australia, New Zealand, Five Eyes. Now, why do they call it Five Eyes, though? Is that an NWO reference? Oh, yeah, Spy Network. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Brad's mom says that there was a priest in his parking lot hearing confessions. Yeah, the drive-through confession thing doesn't bother me as long as they do it right. Joseph G. Isn't or is? They are not. According to him, he says it in Christus Vincit, and he says it in that interview he gave to Taylor Marshall. Go watch that interview that he gave to Taylor Marshall. You can actually just find the SSPX clip. He clipped it and put it on either his main channel or his other channel, and it's like 5 or 10 minutes long. You can find that whole thing. 3 days of darkness over tritium. I thought the 3 days of darkness were supposed to happen in winter. By the time the tritium happens, we'll be well into spring, at least in the West. I come from a European Muslim country. How do you pray for the conversion to Christ? Do I know any successful cases in history? I mean, people have prayed for the conversion of others for all the time. I mean, Saint Monica and for her son Saint Augustine is the most famous case. Vitamin C is gone from the places I expect. Then I found it in 5 and 10. Like I say, always look in the places you wouldn't expect. Vitamin, like when I was in my early part of my PhD program, we were doing we were looking at peer-reviewed articles, and the reason I'm so skeptical of peer-reviewed, the peer review process is because we read those articles, and the only one that said at the beginning, our research indicated this, and then the math actually demonstrated that was true, was the vitamin C one, where they showed that vitamin C helps with a lot of different illnesses. Tony G, again, I'm not a QAnon guy. I don't deny that there's probably somebody in there who really likes the current president and is privy to information. I got tired of hearing all the anti-Catholic propaganda, so I tuned out of it. Not that I was ever I was never going to go buy into this stuff anyway, but... Brian O'Connor, some PP mills have been ordered shut in some states because of the beer bug. It's true. How serious do you think the situation with the virus and the economy will become at the lowest point before it gets better? The rhetoric, if you go watch my Lois Erlmeyer video and then you go look up what the leader of the Middle Kingdom is and what Russia are doing together now, you'll see why I'm definitely concerned. I had a conversation with an economist. I plan to make that stream live today for people to watch it. I might make it live here like at 5 so you can watch it. We go over it. He and I are sort of expecting things to get better, but we could be wrong. I mean, who knows how bad this is going to get. We've, 90% of our economy or something was sold out to the Middle Kingdom over the course of decades, and now it's clear that was a terrible mistake. Let's see. In order for vitamin C to work properly, you need vitamin D to work with it, which is why natural sources of vitamin C are usually better than just straight supplements. Yeah, apparently the Pope gave a message today about divine mercy, as Melinda says, and included an indulgence with it. I may have to do a video later in the week about that. You brought some candles with you to confession one time, and he signed the cross over and told me to go to the holy water, found the door, and put some in it. Felt not quite right. Yeah, there's a specific tradition, Lisa. There's a specific traditional set of blessings for candle mass, specific ritual. Illumination of conscious warning coming soon. I don't know. I don't do the Garen Bendall thing because it hasn't been approved. I know that there are other places with the warning, so if people want to send me links to other places that are approved, then let me know. IV vitamin C at 15,000 milligrams will cure regular flu. If your body can handle that much, but yeah. Does anyone follow the after the warning? I'm not sure what that is. You thought the 3 days of darkness would happen in the early spring. What I heard is at the cusp of winter and spring. Apparently Faustina's diary is condemned by 3 popes, so I say stay away from it. Yeah. I mean, I have a copy of it, but I've literally never opened it. Theologically, there's apparently nothing really wrong with the prayers per se, other than that a lot of people use it to replace the rosary, which is a terrible idea. Stephen D. says the SSPX have a daily mass online on YouTube starting every morning at 9:30 a.m. What time zone is that? I believe that this is the illumination and the warning. I don't know if it's the illumination of conscience. It's apparently supposed to be, if it's real, it's supposed to be a very obvious supernatural issue. Renaissance Man says, I've heard some people in finance say that it'll peak in May, June time. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, that the worst of it is that we'll be out of the worst of it hopefully by late spring, which would be good. If they say that vitamin C powder form cheaper than tablets and pure, no flavoring, yes, and you can get vitamin D super cheap, so take them together. Renaissance Man, another thing, 15 million phone plans in the Middle Kingdom were canceled in January and February. Before this, there was only growth. Yeah, it's almost like they saw something. I wouldn't be, like, I have things that I believe about this that I can't say publicly. That's all I'll say. But it's, I don't buy the official line, and I never have. Anybody who follows me on Twitter knows that months ago when this was breaking in the news, people were correcting me saying, oh, this was really from this, it was corrected, and then it came out later that I was right, because I don't buy the official narrative. If you believe in the government of that country, I got some beachfront property here in central Oklahoma to sell you. Promoter for you today, the channel named Ascent of Mount Carmel has a good series talking about some of the questionable aspects of the Divine Mercy devotion. I do like that channel a lot. I think he should have more subscribers. So if you haven't checked out Ascent of Mount Carmel, go check it out. It's a great channel. Vitamin C to bowel tolerance. I don't understand the stockpiling vitamin C thing. I mean, like, my wife and I go to Costco, periodically, and we went to Costco like 3 weeks before this started becoming a problem, and so we're fine because we went to Costco and it did normal shopping in that regards. But I don't understand. Drink tonic water and get the antiretrovirals from the Alphabet People clinics. If you can. There's the problem that they're having is the problem that they have is that their drugs are apparently the Alphabet People are having a problem getting their drugs now. I mean, what, Jack? Assisi shows what little his opinion is worth. I don't know much about any of that. I mean, I know what the Assisi conferences were, and if you don't know what happened at Assisi in 1986, you should look into it. I said it once in a video, and people got really mad at me because it involves John Paul II, and people didn't want to hear it. So, Liberty Babe, thank God you are on now. I'm glad to be able to stream that I took the time to figure it out. You're going to receive confession in the parking lot. Good. Go get in a state of grace and do whatever you can to stay in the state of grace and keep track of your parish and and what it's doing to offer confession. Seven Sorrows Rosary is powerful along with St. Michael Chaplet. Let's see. Read Harvard to the Big Cows for Real Origins of Current Problem. If people want to do that, go for it. It should all be cleared up by October so Pope Francis can have his education conference. Wouldn't that be something? Lisa Wilson, so your candles are not blessed, right? Well, they're blessed, but I don't know if they're blessed in accordance with the traditional. They should be according to the visionary where we get the visionaries who get the 3 days of darkness and its remedy from. They are explicit of where they need to be blessed. So go to, if you have a friend who has any of the properly blessed ones, see if you can get at least one from them, and then go to Candlemas this February and get them properly done. What 3 popes disregarded the Faustina diaries? Pretty much the predecessors of John Paul II. So you look at like Pius XII, John the 23rd, and Paul VI, I believe. And let's see, read Father Elijah. I'm rereading. It's been years. It's on my list. I'm revising a doctoral dissertation right now. That's the problem. SSPX has a daily mass every morning from their chapel in Phoenix at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. There you go. Louisiana just announced a stay-at-home order starting tomorrow. Assisi was almost as bad as Amazon's Synod problem. It was. They emptied a tabernacle and put a Buddha in front of the tabernacle on the altar. That's not all they did either. They did other things. It was so bad that I believe a Franciscan monk tried to strong arm his way into the parish to stop them from doing it and got arrested for his troubles. Whatever happened to Defeat Modernism channel? Are they still active? Yes, but it's not active under that channel isn't active. Anybody? I mean, other people know who that is. I just don't know if I have the permission to say who did it. But it's another well-known and very controversial Catholic YouTuber. 48% of the U.S. population is dependent on drugs, many on drugs for depression and such. Renaissance Man thinks that it is the least of our problems is the disease with the supply chains this strained. Yeah, I think right now, like, you're going to see the things that I'm worried about are what happened when a lot of people on these psychotropics are deprived of their fix for a long period of time. Assisi is Pacamama on steroids. This has all happened before people wake up sheeple tradies. Assisi was bad. It's why I have such a love for Canon Hess. Need a synod on the current situation. Visit a sauna 3 times a day or steam room. Good luck finding one. Let's see. 3 days of darkness is far off. A lot to happen yet. I mean, it could very well be the case. I don't think things are right. I think things are just going to get worse, and we're in for a rough decade. Patrick Rooney, 2033 Slim Shady Synod. I've never read a Michael O'Brien novel, so I don't know. I don't think Ratzinger was the beast out of the earth. You saw that Michelle says there was a site selling herbs for the 3 days of darkness. Is this legit or BS? If you're familiar, that comes from the Marie Julie Jehani part of what she talked about, things that would happen in the days leading to the 3 days of darkness and the remedies for what would come before and after. I need to do a video on that, but I need to be careful because that's the kind of thing that could get my channel nuked because, promoting, fake science kind of stuff. So likely what I would do is in the video make a reference and then say good, and then just spell it all out on my blog where you can get it in writing. Will this live stream be saved? I save all of them. I just don't always make them available immediately. Father Hess, 3,500 bishops are wrong. I am right. He was quite the character. But I do like Father Hess. The only solution to the present crisis is the consecration of Russia. Yeah, I'd say keep the 5 First Saturday devotions, but well, there's a problem with doing that these days. Isn't Divine Mercy approved? Yes, it's approved. The period of the 7 kings, Lateran, also 1929, John Paul II was the 6th king. Was the 16th, was the 7th king. It's if you go with that. I don't know if that's actually the way to look at it, though. Google account. I'm hoping that you're able to get your meds. Maybe contact your doctor and ask them about or the pharmacy and ask them about their supply chains, and if it's possible, get permission from your doctor to get extra medication. I just don't know how this is going to go on. Let's see. Old Rite Candle's blessing has an exorcism. Candlemas blessing invites the Holy Spirit to the users. Yes, Xenia, that's correct. That's why I highly recommend the traditional way of getting it done. Father Elijah in Apocalypse is my favorite book. The characters are so beautiful, says Liberty Babe. Like I said, I've got it on my shelf. I need to read it. I really, really do. How much more time do I think he has? He is not a young man. Have you noticed, if you watch him, he's not even as spry on his feet as he was at the beginning of his pontificate. I don't have any predictions other than that. David Robinson, yeah, I'm not a believer in Medjugorje. Where is my blog? It's returntotradition.org. It's where I put my sources for my videos. It's linked in the description of any video I upload. It's also a good way to make sure you get notifications for when I upload a video, actually. A lot of people don't get notifications from my channel anymore. I'm hoping that them putting everything on hold the way they have fixes that, because doing everything automated, and because it looks like they're letting a lot more through than they had been before. So I'm hoping that by them doing it that way, I've gotten rid of that problem, because I've noticed positive uptick in other ways since this started, which is good. Liz the Biz, I feel like a spoiled child with all these different live stream masses. Hey, if it's a bad situation, but you know what? I mean, there's always a silver lining. Katie, yeah, I know you were on a 7-year roll with the first Saturdays and first Fridays all gone. Yeah. You got something from Megan says they got something from Defeat Modernism today. Interesting. I'll have to go check. I know that the person who runs that channel is still around, so, and they're very active. I don't want to out who they are, because I don't know if they've said as much publicly. The Screw Tape Letters from David Robinson. Screw Tape Letters is read on YouTube in its entirety, written by C.S. Lewis. Yeah, that is such a good book. Aiden Bond, is this a punishment from God? There are some who say it is. Well, I, of course, can't say for certain. I am inclined to believe as such. Michelle says she's never had a problem getting notifications. Some people just told me the first time I streamed about 3 weeks ago that they hadn't gotten a single notification from my channel since late January until I did that stream. John Paul, yeah, the visions ended for Medjugorje. Well, I don't buy them at all. So, I mean, I saw that, and a lot of us had a good laugh about that. Russia, already consecrated by Pius XII in the 50s, changed your mind? Easy to change your mind. The age of peace didn't happen. That's how. He said it would happen soon, and then, 60 years, going on 70 years is pretty hard. Is it possible to appeal to Pope Francis directly to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary? Many have tried. Even Vladimir Putin apparently tried. What was the night of the screams regarding the Garambandal seers? I don't do anything with Garambandal because it was not approved, so I don't know. Google account has 3 months supply so far. Insurance won't pay extras. You don't think you have the $1,500 for 1 month? Okay, yeah. Well, at least you're set for now. I'm hoping that by then your medication can be made in a domestic source, or at least a source that isn't a tyrannical dictatorship with a mile-long human rights track record. Oh, let's see. Lucia Rossellini, thank you. Had to come looking for your channel again today. Yeah, what I suggest for that is if you are on Facebook, go like the Facebook page. It's in the, if you click on the video where it says show more, there's a link in the list of links I have to the Facebook page for this channel. And I do link all my videos there. I post the YouTube video to the channel every day. So that's another way to not miss what I do. And I do them within a few minutes of the YouTube video going up. Renaissance Man, I just hope that this is the beginning of the end of the widespread depravity. Hope being stuck in a room alone for a month snaps a lot of people out of it. I hope so too, but I also hope it doesn't let people get acclimated to the kind of tyranny that this lodge world order would happily put in place either. Let's see. And Joe Paulo says that Defeat Modernism has a homily posted about 6 hours ago. Go look at their video track record. Until recently, they weren't posting. But I know why. So, let's see. Form factor impacts your notifications. Phone, I get them. Desktop, not so much. Okay, Brian. Well, that's interesting. Make sure if you are subscribed, click the bell for notifications. I don't know how much that'll fix. I have got a video on Our Lady of Lost Salette. The only part of that message I didn't include was the two worm-ridden popes, because the only source I've ever heard mention that really was Father Hess and people who got it from Father Hess. So, but he But Father Hess says that one version of the La Salette message, that was the part that was suppressed, predicted 2 worm-ridden popes towards the end, which is always an uplifting message. Let's see. Which Father Isaac message are you talking about? The suppression of the mass? Because I watched that like yesterday or the day before. I watched it the day it went up, and it was very good. Ed, yeah, a lot of vitamins have a pair that they work, another vitamin that they worked well mutually for your body's absorption. People don't know that. Back when I was in much better shape than I am now, I learned that potassium and magnesium are that way with each other. So if you take potassium, take magnesium with it. It's a good idea. M. Campbell, there's currently a huge plague of locusts in East Africa. I did a video on that like 2 weeks ago. Look for my video End Times, #1 for March 20th, or March 2020. I do a video on it. Seems like the beer bug brought defeat modernism back after 3 years. Could very well be the case. European nations are scrambling to retool for domestic generics production around the clock. That is good news. I would rather, if we have to get our drugs from a foreign source, I'd rather get them from the Europeans than from, because at least they're not like, they're only depraved. They're not like, galactic empire evil. The Hypnagogue wishes Ken and Hess were here now. I would love to see what his reaction would be to things going on right now. Thomas Keller thinks this isn't ending until Easter 2023. Well, that would imply that the Antichrist is public now, and I don't think that the Antichrist is public. I don't know whether or not he's on Earth, but I know he's not public. Do you think mass attendance will increase or decrease after this crisis? That's a good question. I'm hoping that it increases. You get a lot of the lukewarm Catholics, the nominally Catholic, repent and start attending mass again. Caroline endorsing the miraculous medal. They need our labor for them to keep us cooped up for too long. That's true. I don't think that you'll see longer than a month long. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I don't think the economy crash is going to last super long, is because I can't imagine our rulers letting that happen. Our Lady promised a certain period of peace, not a utopia. That's true. But they also said it was going to be at least like 25 years of quote unquote good harvests. And we haven't had that, especially when you understand that the concept of good harvest being in the context of a spiritual harvest. We haven't had that. So no, I don't think Pius XII consecrated. He consecrated the world, yes. Consecration must be specifically of Russia. Brat's mom, you are correct. And that has still not happened. John Paul II is said to have asked the cardinals with him if he could name Russia in his famous 1984 consecration, and they said no. I've heard the 2 Lucia theory. I won't comment on it until I get like a good professional, someone with the skills and the knowledge of how to do photo analysis to really go into it. Xenia is correct about Medjugorje. Do you think this crisis could somehow reinstate, after a big devastation, the Latin Mass and the traditional theology to its rights celebrated around the world? I think there's going to be a restoration of the faith. I don't know if it'll be the restoration of the Latin Mass. I think you'll see it's going to be more widespread, and I think you might see it fully regularized, like it's regularized via Summorum Pontificum. But I think you're going to see enough of the bishops stop trying to suppress it, because a lot of them ignore it. They ignore Summorum Pontificum. Where's Pius XIII? On HBO in a coma, apparently. I don't know. I haven't bothered to watch that new show. If you mean a real Pius XIII, I don't know. Lucia, thank you. That's good to know. You're not on Facebook. People don't like to... Okay. Lucia, the other option is go to my blog, returntotradition.org, and there'll be an option there for you to get updates. It might be an email thing, or it might be some other option. I had a subscriber who offered to update my blog for me, and he reformatted it and made it actually really, really nice. He took care of that, but there are ways to get notifications through the blog. So go to returntotradition.org. It's the name of my channel as a web address, .org. I've heard about the 30,000 French knives, we'll call them, in the U.S. We'll see. Let's see. No, they're going to return to the faith. They are going to return to the faith, and the schism will end. John Jeffrey that's a good impersonation of Father Hess. The Marie Jehani Prophecies for Our Times is a great site. Yeah, there's a lot out there to read about her. A lot. To make a valid form, matter, form, and intention are the three main parts. Let's see. EWTN is surprisingly good and orthodox with Father Pacwa. I like Father Pacwa. He's the one. He's one of the few like Jesuits in the public eye that are actually like solid. Let's see. Do we need to process and place a statue of Our Lady of America in the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception? If that was what was asked of us, and it hasn't happened, then yes. What do I think of the Diamond Brothers? They're not only are they set of a contest, they're grifters, and I would stay away. Thomas Keller, the series ending was awful, worst ending since The Sopranos. I wouldn't doubt it. That's what I've heard. I've heard that it was just an awful, awful show. Like the first season of like The Young Pope it's worth watching the highlights from on YouTube, because at least then you get all the good stuff without any of the occasion of sin stuff. Is Mass on Internet Live as good as attending Mass Church? No, but it's better than not going. You have every bishop in the U.S. has issued a dispensation, and most of the bishops in the West have issued dispensations to not attend the Mass right now. And but watching it live is, and at least trying to participate prayerfully is good, better than nothing. Yeah, there was a Pius XIII imposter. But, that's why I hope to live to see the real Pius XIII come someday. The spirit of Antichrist has been around since St. Paul. Yep. Patrick Rooney are what? If you mean the Diamond Brothers, I think they're grifters. I don't recommend them at all. I tell people to stay away. Our Lord, they'll give us the equivalent of a Pius XIII after the chastisement. We're going to get an angelic pope. I've done videos on that before, and I'll do more. Miami is at 84 degrees average last week. Maybe. That's good. CF Fueling, I accidentally hid your message, but what it says is, don't Elijah and Enoch have to... Oh, come on. That's what happens. Have to return before the Antichrist rears its ugly head? Yes, he does. Carolina Diamond Brothers are fake. Yeah, I'm not a fan. What is a grifter? A con artist, basically. Others say scammer. Diamond Brothers are right on many things except for one. They're right on. They're not wrong on some things, but I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go say that they're only wrong about one thing. They're set of a contest, so they're wrong. Yeah, the young pope has wonderful highlights. I haven't seen the highlights from the new pope yet. I'm afraid to, partially because they have a Pope John Paul III in that show, and he wants to normalize the James Martin lifestyle or something. And that's just terrifying. So I don't know if I want to even watch the highlights, but Google, first time in more than 50 years that your bishop used the high altar. Wow, that's good. My opinion on Duet 6419. What do you mean by Duet 6, chapter 6:4-19? Do I think that the president will get reelected? I cannot imagine him losing to the person he's running against. I just can't see it. There's a concept in political science called the rally around the flag effect. And it basically is that during a crisis, the people of the country tend to rally around the president. And this crisis isn't going to end immediately. I think he's going to combine that with the fact, just the quality of his opponent. I think he's going to be fine, just as long as the people who are okay voting for him turn out. Diamond Brothers did a good job takedown of Jay Dyer, though. Well, I'd have to go check that out. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm not going to go, try to start fights with anybody, but I'm not a fan of Jay Dyer. Let's see. Satan was a seraphim, the highest ranking angel. He causes different triad groups to infight. Well, I mean, yeah, but this I don't go picking fights with different traditionalist groups, but I just think people should stay away from con artists like the Diamond Brothers. Let's see. According to Jeep Guy, that the Diamond Brothers received Holy Communion from a Novus Ordo priest while telling people to avoid it. North Korea says it received a letter from Trump 5 hours ago. Well, I'd like to know I'd like to know if that's true. The president is supposed to go live today at some point. The gal's sister Lucy has an upside down smile. The real one has an upside down smile. Saint Dismas certainly wasn't baptized, but the paradise our Lord promised might have been the limbo of the fathers. I don't know. Canon Hess would be all over this stuff going on now with his glass of wine. Well, of course. Of course. Going on an hour and a half now. Pretty sure my wife would like to see me soon, so I would if anybody's got any questions, shoot them over in the chat at this point. Otherwise, I'm going to have to end this here in a minute. Thomas Scott going to make a huge announcement today. Yeah, let's hope it's not the national lockdown. I'm not thrilled at this concept unless the whole point is to break globalism completely, or unless the point is to break small business completely. Gerard is asking if the current thing is a punishment from God. I can't say for certain, but I mean, it looks like it. $322 Masonic crossbones. Yeah, today is apparently the 22nd of March is apparently a big day for the lodge. So from what I heard. Thank you for the well wishes, people. Yeah, I'm going to call it here. I will, time permitting and bandwidth permitting, I'm going to try to, do this on Sundays if I can. So. But yeah, anyway, there are plenty of options for Mass online, and there are, the bishops that, we tend to like, the better bishops in the church right now have all been releasing statements lately. So I've got one for you tomorrow, and then I have another one for you probably Tuesday. So, and if more come out, I will give you more later in the week. Otherwise, they're going to be, more normal kind of content this week. Have I seen Wax? If that's a movie, no, I haven't. How long before Roosh becomes our guy? I have no idea. Him getting to this, going back to the Eastern Orthodox from doing the life he was living is definitely a step in the right direction. So pray for him. Wax or the discovery of television among the bees? No, I have not. If you want to email me a link or something, do so. It might be interesting to watch. Let's see. He's already a guy, even though he's Orthodox. I mean, if he doesn't convert fully, he's as close to our guy as he's going to become. I definitely was pleased to see him going from being a pickup artist to embracing traditional living and repenting publicly of his past sins, to the point where he unpublished all the books that he'd been making a living off of for years. I have some pretty un-PC names I like to call it. I've called it on Twitter, but I won't do it on YouTube. So yes, anyway, I'm going to end it here. So you all have a nice day, and I will probably I may just leave this one to be live for the rest of the day, or I may let it make it live a couple days from now, and make the one about my chat with the host of the Trad Dads podcast go live here. So anyway, you have a nice day, and have a blessed Sunday, and hang tight or hang in there, everybody. We'll get through this. Anyway, have a blessed Sunday.